This is Leo from Snubnosed Air, and I am here to talk to you about what's going on in pet shipping in Korea for the week of the 19th of February of 2020. And there are two issues that I want to talk about today. These are very important issues if you're a pet owner here in South Korea. Issue number one is going to be what's going on with snub-nosed pets. Issue number two, what's going on with those microchips and the registration that the Animal Plant Quarantine Agency said we all need to do. First, I want to talk to you about snub-nosed dogs. It is a well-known fact that many airlines dislike shipping snub-nosed dogs, mainly because they are worried about lawsuits. Yeah, one thing that's going to happen here is I am not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to tell it to you straight. Snub-nosed pets seem to have a tendency to have trouble breathing when they are in flight. There's a lot of misconceptions about why snub-nosed dogs are not allowed. People say it's because of the weather, because of the temperature, or it could be because of the air pressure in the airplane. The truth is, nobody really knows. The fact is, a lot of snub-nosed dogs die according to data that has been collected by airlines in the United States, where airlines are supposed to voluntarily report the incidents where there are deaths or injuries to pets in cargo. Now, I say voluntary, and not every airline reports everything, and the United States is the only country where that happens. In other countries, we have no idea of the incidents that happen to dogs in flight because they just simply do not have to report it. What happens is hush money. Money gets given to customers, tickets, some whatever. Say, we're sorry your dog died, here's some money, don't tell anybody. So there just isn't much data available for us to figure out what's going on. So what I've been doing for many years is just simply observing what's going on with the airlines, and that observation can tell us what's been going on. As many of you probably know, United Airlines had an issue with a snub-nosed dog dying in the actual cabin, so it wasn't a cargo dog. The animal was put in an overhead bin by the United Airlines staff that caused the pet to die, and then at that point, United Airlines basically stopped all of their shipping, and they took like 3 or 4 months to redesign their entire system of how they move pets. Other airlines have been following suit. Now, I want to focus directly on the local airline here, Korean Air. Korean Air for many years didn't have any type of bans on dogs. It didn't matter if it was a snub-nosed dog. It didn't matter what type of breed it was. They just simply didn't care. Now, I don't want to talk to you about the front office staff, the customer-facing staff, because Korean Air has some of the best trained customer-facing employees. They will smile and they will treat you with respect. They will be absolutely great. But that's what's happening in the front. You don't know what's happening in the back, and like I said a little while ago, they don't have to report it, but we observe things. We began observing Korean Air showing some signs of unease about snub-nosed dogs traveling a few years ago. They started looking at the health certificates a lot closer. They started paying more attention to what was written in the age information of the dog, and they started asking us for indemnity forms where the customers would sign away something that said, if the dog dies or gets injured, we are not going to sue the airline. So these were the first signs of Korean Air beginning to reconsider snub-nosed dogs. Then about a year ago, and right now it's winter of 2020, about a year ago, Korean Air suddenly, out of nowhere, decided they were not going to accept snub-nosed dogs as passengers checked baggage. Now, please understand, Korean Air and Korean Air Cargo are two separately operating entities. This is true with most airlines. We asked, what's going on? Why suddenly you're banning snub-nosed dogs? Because that happened like overnight. They said like, from tomorrow, we're not going to accept them anymore. As we were asking behind closed doors, we found out that in fact, snub-nosed dogs had been dying on Korean Air. How many? We don't know. That data doesn't exist. But they were dying. And of course, hot weather affects the way these dogs breathe. It doesn't have anything to do with what's going on in the plane. It's about what's going on the ground in between the moment the pet is given to the airline and the moment the airline actually manages to get the pet on the plane. There's a long trip there, and many times that trip happens outdoors where it can get really, really hot. Korean Air simply said, too many dogs are dying, we're going to stop them from checked baggage. Now at that point, I began to sense something is going to happen in cargo. Checked baggage tends to act first, cargo acts second. So at the beginning of the summer, I made a decision based on information that I had and also based on the policies of our partner in the United States, Pet Relocator, who they have their own internal company policy to not ship any snub-nosed dogs during the summer months. Now, please understand, when a company decides to ban a certain type of animal, and it's not an airline ban but a shipping company ban, the company is basically telling you, we value the life of your pets so much that we're willing to lose your business. We're willing to let a competitor take the business because we just don't want to risk your pet's life. This costs us a lot of money. Last spring, we announced that we would not accept any snub-nosed dogs during the hot summer months. Even though Korean Air was still accepting them, we were not willing to risk it. I hate to say I told you so, but just a few weeks ago, Korean Air said they will not be shipping any snub-nosed dogs at all this summer of 2020. Something happened last summer. Many snub-nosed dogs died last summer in Korean Air. Of course, this is not official data. I cannot give you any research for it. All I can say is look at the signs. 2 years ago, they banned snub-nosed animals during the summer for checked baggage. That apparently didn't solve the issue because they were still accepting dogs as cargo, and then this year, they have banned snub-nosed dogs as cargo. I want to tell you about a particular customer. Last year, there was a lady that had 2 bulldogs, and she was adamant that she had to ship them in August, and we said no. We did not want to risk her bulldogs' lives. So she went to a competitor of ours, and this competitor had no problem putting the dogs on Korean Air during August, the hottest month, and those dogs flew. I'm happy that those dogs lived, but the evidence is here telling us that that was an unnecessary risk and those dogs could have died. So what I can tell you is, if you are planning to fly a snub-nosed dog pet during summer of 2020, you need to make plans to ship the dog before or after. Okay, and the second topic I want to talk about today. Last week we had an announcement from the Korean Animal Plant Quarantine Agency. Boy, that's a mouthful. APQA. That's what I want everybody to say, the APQA. They announced that dogs and cats that are flying out of South Korea will not get a quarantine exit certificate unless they are registered in the National Database for Animal Management. This is a problem. You probably read my article on the Dogs Air website about why this was caused. Basically, breeders were shipping dogs that were too young, and these dogs were dying at arrival in airports in the United States. The USDA scolded APQA for, this is hard to do. Anyways, USDA scolded the Korean quarantine for sending animals with certificates that said the animal was over 4 months old, when actually the animals were less than that. 3, 2, I've seen very, very young animals. Many of these animals were arriving dead, but because they can be sold for $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 each at pet shops in the States, the breeders would accept the loss because the ones that got through could be sold for a lot of money. To stop this practice of breeders illegally sending pets, quarantine has made the decision that all animals need to be registered with the national database. This is good, but it's a big problem because here's the thing. The National Database for Animal Management is not run by Animal and Plant Quarantine Agency. It's run by the cities and by the local departments, GUs as they're called, or Myeon, or many different things all over South Korea. There is a central database that's kept by the Animal Management Agency, but it's not connected to quarantine. So quarantine said, we are going to require you to have your animals registered there. The problem is that there, the animal management system, they really don't keep it very strictly. First of all, they don't accept cats. But the quarantine agency said cats need to be registered. And management said, we haven't registered cats ever. We don't even have a place to register them. If somebody comes with a cat, some vets just mark it as a dog just to put the chip number in there, but they're not really registered. So quarantine said, well, can you start registering them? And then the management office said, we'll try to do it by April. Bottom line, what ended up happening is that the left hand and the right hand had no idea what each other was doing. Let's put them here. There. No idea. So they're beginning to backtrack. Over the past 3 or 4 days, we've been hearing that agents from Animal and Plant Quarantine have been saying, no, we're not going to register cats. And we've been on the phone quite a lot with APQA trying to figure this out. And one of the things that I, Leo, am, honestly, I'm going to say this, I'm really angry about, is that while trying to solve a problem that's caused by Korean breeders, APQA is actually punishing us, the foreigners. Because here's the thing. Obviously, most of us don't speak Korean. We're only here for 1 or 2 years. And obviously, the majority of animals that are leaving South Korea are not being taken out by Koreans. They're being taken out by us, foreigners. And they've imposed on us this thing of we have to register our animals. Well, I've been getting emails all week of people telling me, it's impossible, my vet won't do it. They sent me to another vet and that vet doesn't speak English. Or they don't accept my number because I don't have a foreigner alien registration number. Just, there's so many problems that foreigners have been having to register this. Gina and I have been pressuring the quarantine agency to just look and realize that we foreigners that are here, we're not the problem. We're not the ones that have been moving breeders. We're not the problem. But we are all getting punished. So for now, I think they're going to leave us, foreigners, alone when we are sending pets out. The problem is vets have been instructed that they shouldn't issue a health certificate for a pet that is not registered in the national database. And if your vet comes to you and says, sorry, I'm not going to issue a health certificate because the animal is not registered, the only solution that I can give you is either go to another vet or call us and we will, for free, because we end up doing lots of things for free, we will try to smooth things out for you so that you can get your certificate. Hopefully, this is not going to be too much of a problem. Hopefully, we're going to figure out a way to educate the quarantine officers, the APQA, good people who work hard to protect the biosecurity of Korea, to have a little bit of common sense and realize that we, foreigners, are not the problem. So, I'll keep you updated. But for now, the word that's not the final word, but the going word, is that if you are a foreigner and you cannot register your animal, they will let you through if it's a dog. If it's a cat, you don't have to register because the database doesn't accept cats yet. It's a cluster. Okay, so that's what's going on with the situation of pet shipping. This is pretty chaotic first episode of this. I'm going to try to do this on Wednesdays. The reason I'm going to try to do it on Wednesdays is because that's our flight operations day. We've sent many dogs out to fly this morning. Now it's 8:50 p.m. I'm sitting here in the van at the airport, so I have time to kill, so might as well do YouTube. Okay, if you have any questions that you want me to answer, feel free to send them to me on Facebook. I am at ShinDogsLeo. Send it to me on Twitter. I am at Leodoza, Leodoza. I think that's my Instagram thing too. Sorry, I'm nearly 50. I don't stay up to date with all these young kid things. But just send me the question. Oh, comment on YouTube. I think that also works. Comment for me. Send me the question that you have about pet shipping in Korea or anywhere. The worst I can tell you is I have no clue. I don't know. Find it out somewhere else. But I am here to answer your questions. Hopefully next week on Wednesday you'll get episode 2 of, what did I call this? Korea News Report for Animal Shipping. Okay, I'll figure it out later. All right, guys, I'm out. Have yourselves a great day and have fun.